Georgia lawyers Bob and Irreverent D talk law. Listen up for stories about how things really happen in our legal system. Who are these guys? Dwayne Singleton, Irreverent D, is a criminal defense attorney in the state of Georgia. Benjamin O. Benson, aka Bob, is a personal injury attorney in Atlanta. On today's episode, Irreverent D fesses up.
How many prisoners have you helped escape?
Lots.
Yes.
Lots.
Bob gets flummoxed.
I did not even know that. I'm ashamed to admit I did not know that.
And Dwayne refuses to join a sing-along.
Yeah.
We didn't start the fire.
It was
You
the
didn't start the fire.
officer.
Now, sit back and take a listen as Bob and Irreverent D talk law.
The police took the evidence and destroyed all the evidence. They couldn't do DNA sampling. And so the federal government is investigating the Houston County Police Department.
This is an argument I get into all the time with district attorneys is they're like, well, we weren't the ones that didn't preserve that.
Yeah.
We didn't start the fire.
It was
You
the
didn't start the fire.
officer who threw away his field notes.
Yes.
So it wasn't a violation by the, and I argue, well, it's all part of the state, whether we're talking about the big state or the little state. They're like, well, but we didn't do it on purpose. I'm like, no, but it's gone.
You know, that brings up an interesting point about missing documentation. And let me tell you, this goes to show you, and we're going to be talking about missing documentation in just a few minutes, aren't we?
Right.
Today's public service announcement day. But let me, you never know
Closer to
what's
me.
going
Okay.
to happen. We had this thing happen where we're trying to get uninsured motorist coverage for our client because there's not enough liability coverage by the defendant.
Okay?
Our client's insurance company says, sorry, they clicked on the box that says uninsured motorist reduced by the amount that's available by the person who caused the accident. We said, okay, show us the work. Prove it. Right? Prove our client signed this thing that says reduced by. They say, okay, we'll get it to you. Well, a month goes by. They haven't gotten it to us. Another month goes by, and we've been telling our client, look, it looks like we're screwed. Like it looks like there's only $50,000 in coverage,
Right.
and you've got damages well in excess of that, but you didn't get the kind of insurance that would cover that. You got the reduced by insurance.
Because sometimes
coverage.
that reduced by means it's zero.
That means, yeah, most of the time.
Most of
means
the time
zero.
it goes to zero. Yes.
Yeah. So you know what happened yesterday? We got a letter in the mail from our insurance company, our client's insurance company says, can't find the document.
Nice.
We're affording coverage. So you just never know what's going to happen because like they could just lose the document and they're kind of stuck. Georgia law.
Well, that's like your thing, like, I'm covered by ERISA, and you're like, prove it.
Right. Prove your ERISA.
Prove
right?
your
Yeah.
ERISA.
Another one of those is they're using electronic signatures for the reduced coverage.
Right, the little checkbox.
Yes, especially when you buy your insurance from Geico, Progressive, and some of the carriers
So
that
you
are
think that's
selling
not
it
legit?
on insured.
Ooh.
Well,
I hadn't even thought of that.
the problem is when they send you the documents and you may have wet signatures on
Yeah.
the application,
Mhm.
but yet you've got this digital signature on the reduction,
On the separate one.
on the separate reduced policy.
They may not know that they're signing something
And
else.
so what
It's
my
like
client
when
is
you're logging
doing.
on to your bank account, they're like,
Well-
you want paper statements. You have to always keep clicking
Yes. What happened is we had a client where they had a sat in front of the farmer's insurance agent, and he was typing it into the computer, and he said, "Do you want reduced or add-on?" And he said, "Reduced is cheaper. I'll hit reduced." So he punches reduced for the client. So when the client is sitting there with the agent is doing it online. So who really signed it, the agent or the client?
Interesting. Yeah.
And
Fascinating.
that's the theory. And another take on that is if you have a commercial policy, we have a commercial policy, that is a $5 million commercial policy. It includes the owner's vehicles, the vehicles of the owners. That policy is what they call specialty insurance, which means it's not regulated by Georgia, but you're allowed to sell it in Georgia.
Okay.
So they don't know Georgia law. So you've got a $5 million policy that will cover them.
The insurance carrier does?
The insurance carrier doesn't.
Got it.
So they don't have any rejection on there.
Oh, interesting.
So if that employee of that company
Yeah.
is in a vehicle, if that employee is covered, he may have a $5 million policy.
So
Hey, call
So
us.
That,
So all
that
the
happens
young-
in common carrier cases.
So all the young lawyers out there that haven't experienced this type of stuff and don't understand it, they need to call you guys and
And talk to us about it. We'll
Talk
tell
to
you
us.
all about it.
Yes.
Welcome to, we've been talking for God knows how long before introducing the episode. This is the Bob and Irreverent D Talk Law podcast. Make sure if you have not clicked on that button to subscribe,
like us.
and
Right there.
subscribe. Our
Share it
number
with your
of
friends.
Our number of subscribers are increasing by the day. You want to be with the in crowd and subscribe with us.
You can say, I knew them back when.
That's right.
Right?
Right?
Yes.
Like that's the in thing to do right now is to say, "Oh, I knew Blues Travelers, but while they were still."
They're still cruising around Athens.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, anyways, today's episode brought to you by criminal defense and family lawyer Dwayne Singleton. Dwayne Singleton Trial Lawyers Group in Griffin, Georgia.
Changed our name, but the lawyers we've added some. How
We've
about that?
rebranded.
We've rebranded.
Very good.
And we've got Bob Law Firm here in Atlanta, one of the best places you can go if you need help with a tractor trailer wreck or a personal injury case. He will help you from the very beginning to the end to maximize your settlement.
And more importantly, we do maximize settlements.
But you don't settle.
Listen,
go to trial.
we decide what the value is, and we're transparent with our clients about it. And we say, look, if they don't offer something in that range, we're going to sue, and we sue a lot. Anyways, also our friend Greg Dobson, who is our public service announcement person today.
And one of my
Yes.
mentors.
One of
Yes,
your mentors.
yes.
We've known
right
Greg.
out of law school.
Yep.
Over 20 years ago,
Yes.
I
That's
helped to develop and train
Little
the
skinny
Irreverent D.
That's
He
right.
Yes.
He taught me. I could hear him on the phone with those insurance companies just fussing
Yes.
with them in the other
Yeah.
room.
Yes.
That's back
Great way
when
to
he
learn.
was Reverend D.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Before he got the I.
He before the eye.
I was very respectful back then.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so today we're not doing a traditional episode. We're having a public service announcement, and Greg is going to tell us about some things that he's been made aware of and that he's working with regarding your car.
Yes.
And what happens when your car was in, not when you were in a wreck, but when your car was in a wreck.
And
Yes.
let me just talk about Greg. Greg's, when you're talking to these attorneys, they're like, I don't think you have a case, but you may want to get a second opinion. Okay. Greg's the guy you call to get a second opinion because he may have some different angle that you can get recovery that nobody else has thought about. And that's kind of his specialty.
Yes. Let's say you're on the highway and you're driving your Dodge Challenger up I-75 and maybe you're doing 110 miles an hour.
Oh, God,
and maybe
oh,
you hit the guardrail and your car gets totaled.
Yes. I would say
Well,
that's not a case.
Most lawyers, I'd say all lawyers are going to say, you don't have a case. Well, you call me. Call me.
I would
Because,
tell him, hey,
you know,
look, that's really terrible.
Yeah.
I would be
yeah.
glad to refer you to a criminal defense attorney
Yes.
who you may need help
Yes.
from for the citation, but I can't help you.
I always feel dumb when I talk to Greg, though, because I'm like, I didn't know that was a lawsuit
Right, that
or
just-
an issue.
That just happened to me.
Right.
Yeah.
He was talking to me earlier before we went on, and I was like, I did not even know that. I'm ashamed to admit I did not know that. Anyways,
So anyway,
Yeah.
so you get out of jail and you call me. And you say well,
Because every other attorney is going to
Yes.
say you don't have a case.
that's right. But let me tell you, you've got insurance on the car. So the insurance company
full coverage. They
full
have.
coverage.
That's right. Everybody's got
legal
full
to
coverage.
drive, street legal.
That's
so
right.
so you go in there and you get your call your insurance carrier and you say, I need a check for my car. I think my car is totaled. And
Wait. Hang on. Slow down. You skipped over like 5 steps in my brain.
Yes.
How is it that you can be responsible? You're at fault for your own damage to your car, and your own insurance company can pay you for it?
Yes. They will pay you because you have comp and collision.
Oh, because I have full
because
coverage.
you have full coverage with comp and collision.
Right. Okay,
So if you
gotcha.
have the comp and collision coverage, it will pay to buy you a new car. So you go to your insurance company, they send the adjuster out. He says, yes, your car is totaled, and I'm going to give you $20,000 for your car. And you say, okay, that's what it's worth. That's about what I paid for it. So you say, okay, that's fine. And then they send you a nice sheet of paper that's about 5 or 6 pages long, and it does where it takes your vehicle and it compares it to 3 or 4 other vehicles in the community
I've
to
seen
come up
this-
with their price.
Yes, I've seen this sheet of
Yes.
paper. It's very nice looking.
Very nice,
It's got
very nice.
great like graphics on
And
it.
I always
It's got
check it with
pictures.
KBB, and I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah, and,
Right.
and you can go on the internet and look it up,
Right.
and the value's going to be fair. Chances are it's going to be a pretty fair value. But
According to them.
according to them.
Right.
But here's where I come in. On that, you're going to see that, and then you're going to see that they're paying you. Hopefully, most companies, not all, but most companies on that report will ask that they put in sales tax, and they will also ask that they put in tag and title fees. So they're going to have sales tax, tag, and title added on to the $20,000 that they're saying they'll pay you.
Could you pay all that up front now in Georgia
Yeah.
when you buy
Yes.
a car, right?
Yeah, because you have to pay it to buy another car.
And this is really dealing with Georgia cases.
This is
right?
only in Georgia that
Okay.
that this will work. It's the only case that I know of. I mean, I know that Georgia, it will work. I don't know about its other states. But so you've got these taxes. Well, here's the problem. The insurance companies get sloppy, and they were from basically January of 2019 until May of 2022, they were paying the wrong amount of money on tax. And you're saying, well, big deal. It's
Are you
not
saying on tags?
on tax?
On
the
tax.
sales tax.
Okay.
On the sales tax, they were paying what is called TAVT tax, which is your tax and ad valorem tax.
Okay.
So
What were they supposed to be doing?
They were supposed to be paying 6.6% of the value of the car.
Okay.
So since they were paying the wrong amount, you're thinking, well, so what? Well, maybe they cheated you out of $200, $300. I've seen one. I saw a Ford F-150. It was $1,100 difference.
Oh, wow.
So it's some real money. But then you're saying, well, why would I even bother calling a lawyer to get $200 or $300? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I'm the guy that files a class action. Not only am I going to get money for you, I'm going to get money for all the other people that they paid the wrong amount to in
All
the
right.
state of Georgia during that time period.
So let me sum up here.
So you're making the insurance companies
Company
do
pay.
what they should have done
done
before.
to start with, yes.
So if somebody has already been in a car wreck, already got their check, they still have a claim that they can
Yes.
file with you?
Yes, they still have that claim that we can file. And what we do is we have to research it. We request the documents from the insurance company. We get that report, we look at it, and then we look at your banking. We look at to see how much money you got paid, and then we know what you were paid, and then we know whether or not you were paid the proper amount.
So it's not like you have to do a whole bunch
No,
of
you won't
stuff.
be.
Like the
you won't
numbers
be
are gonna
doing
say.
anything than calling me.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
signing a letter so that I can get the paperwork and look at it. That completes my investigation. Then I'll call you back and tell you whether or not you got a case.
So like one of my DUI clients that had a wreck.
Yes.
Alleged DUI.
Well, it's probably a reckless driving or dismissed by now.
Yes.
But
Right. Okay.
they could still call you.
Yes, they can call me. And that is generally what we have found is our clients are people that have had single car wrecks where a deer ran out in front of them and they ran off the road and crashed their car, or maybe they were drunk.
Maybe they fell asleep.
Maybe they fell asleep.
All right, clients, I know y'all are all watching this, but there's money on the table that you've
That's
left
right.
there.
So there was something else that we wanted you to talk to us and our guests about, and that is like when you get in an accident,
Right.
and the insurance, your own insurance company, gets you a rental car.
That's right.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's another
This is
issue.
really
That's another
Fascinating.
issue.
This is the part that I was like,
I
what?
didn't know that
Yeah.
either.
That's another issue that's popping up. And basically, in Georgia insurance policies, the way that rental car coverage is written, it says that you're entitled to a rental car for reasonable use for 30 days up to $30 a day or $900 total. So that means you've got basically the insurance companies get reduced rates on rental car. They get a cheaper rate than you and I can get. So most of them would have to keep you in that rental car for up to 30 days. So if you have your cars totaled and you're in a rental car, the insurance companies always want to call you and say, hey, your car's totaled. We can pay you $3,000. We've made you an offer. You need to take the rental car back by 5 o'clock today. And you're like, no way, I can't get it back. Well, okay, well, we'll let you bring it by in the morning. You know,
Right.
just
we
get
made
it to
you
the
an
rental car
offer.
place. We made you an offer. You're not entitled to the rental car
Okay.
anymore. That's what they say.
Their rules, their way.
That's the way they do it. And
Okay.
then if they don't do it, sometimes the insurance companies they're too chicken to tell you that. So what they do is they call you up, they make you an offer, say, hey, we're going to pay you $3,000 for your car. You say that's fine. And then they turn around and they call Enterprise or Budget or Hertz,
Whoever
and they
you're
have
with.
them call you and tell you got to bring the rental car back the next day. And then you're thinking, well, I had to give them my debit card or my
Right.
credit card.
Sure,
and I'm
that's
like,
happened to my
oh my God,
clients.
they're going to start charging me if I don't take it back. So then you take it back. But here's the problem. How can you buy another car when you don't have a rental car to go look at cars? And the other
Right.
thing is,
That's what we say.
how can you
Sure.
how can you buy that other car when they haven't sent you the check yet? So then it takes 8 to 10 days for them to issue a check and send it to you.
Well, then you're back too.
And so then you're back to another car.
Yeah.
Freeze on the
And then the bank
check.
puts a freeze on the
Right.
check for 10 days.
All right, so you're saying, okay, in the past when we've had that problem with our clients, what we would do is just as a courtesy to our clients, we don't handle property damage as much, but we find that we end up dealing with it a lot. We call up the insurance company and say, don't do that.
Right.
And we kind of browbeat them into at least let them have it through the weekend.
Please let them
Right.
have it one more
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Right, and then they'll say,
can't buy anything till
okay,
Monday."
okay. But
Right.
you're what I hear you saying is that maybe that there's a legal remedy for that. Like, what
Yes.
is it?
There is. The legal remedy for that is the insurance companies are not adjusting the claim. And Georgia law says you have to adjust a claim. And a rental car coverage is a separate claim than
That's right.
property damage or bodily injury coverage. So they have to adjust it. Since they're not adjusting it, we're right back to the only way to solve this problem is somebody coming forward, bringing a case to me, and we file a class action against the insurance company for not adjusting rental car claims and not paying rental car claims.
So this is a situation where you're actually getting to sue the insurance company.
Yes.
And which all our clients want to sue the insurance company.
Right.
And we're
Yeah,
always
you're
like,
not suing an individual. You're suing the insurance company.
do what you're supposed to
for,
do.
for
do what
doing,
I paid you to do.
Yeah. You pay your premium. Man, you got to pay that premium. It's coming out of your check every month. So they ought to have to pay a claim, and they ought to let you stay in a rental car until you can get another car and get your check cashed.
All right, one last question before we wrap up. Now, it seems to me from reading in the law books where there is also a duty on behalf of the third-party carrier to fairly adjust a property damage claim, right? And ordinarily, in personal injury cases, I tell my clients, rightfully, the liability carrier, the insurance company for the other person who hit you, they don't have a duty to us.
No.
Right? They have a duty to their client. They either have, if they, maybe they'll make us a fair offer, maybe they won't, but they don't have any duty to us on your injury claim. All they have to do is, if we sue them, we sue their person, they've got to hire a lawyer to defend them, and if we get a verdict, they got to pay it. Right? So, but there is a statute in Georgia that says, as a third-party property damage adjuster, you have a duty to adjust it in good faith.
Right.
And if you don't, that actually creates a right. Is it possible to go after a third-party liability carrier?
I think what we're trying to do is do first party because there's a contract with first party.
Because we have privy with them.
We have privy
Yeah.
contracts.
Okay.
So we're
Okay, I
trying
got
to get the law established with
Yeah.
the first party cases, and then that may end up moving at some point to third party cases.
Okay.
But right now we're just doing first party claims.
All right.
Now, do the clients have to pay out of pocket?
No, there's no. It's
Okay.
all done on contingency fee. There's no, there's no cost to the client. Now, say that your rental car, you figured you got cheated out of a 5 days or a week of rental car, and that's $150 to $300. Well, but if you're the first plaintiff in a class action, if you're the one that helps initiate it, you get what's called a lodestar fee, and that lodestar fee typically can be anywhere from $1,500 we've had them as high as $25,000.
You get paid to lead the class.
You get paid for leading the class,
Yeah.
and it requires a little more effort because we copy you with all the paperwork that
Right.
comes in, and you get to review it, and you're the one that gets to say, okay, that's fair to the class.
Right.
You
So
get to
this-
make that
So
decision.
this is where I tell the client, I don't think they have a case. Then they call you, and then they call me back 6 months later, and they're like, "Well, Greg got me $10,000." I'm like, "Well, good for Greg."
Yeah.
Right?
That's why I told you to call him.
That's right.
Well, thanks for joining the show.
Thank y'all.
Thank you all
Thank
for
y'all.
joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next time when Bob and Irreverent D talk law.